Alrighty, well, we are at 3 o'clock. Today, I believe Aaron has been out all week, so will not be joining us. And also, your beloved regular host, Ashley, is sadly sick today. So, you folks are stuck with me. So, I'm tagging in the MC, this lovely little show. And yeah, we'll get things rolling. So, as per the start, we have, we usually start off with Aaron's intro. I'm going to try and remember. What he says every time. I believe Ashley did a good job last week with, I think there's 4 main things, so might need some help. The first one I always remember is, of course, asking questions about automation. So that's what we're all here to do and benefit from, with collaborating with one another. So, no one has ever been a successful automator without asking questions. So yeah, don't be silent. No such thing as a stupid question. We're all here to learn, and one of the best places you can go to do those questions and search for Q&A is on Discord. So if you're not already a member of our Discord server, please get on there. Drop your your ideas, your thoughts into our main general channel, also known as the Coop. And if you're new to Roost and new to this call, we have tons of great channels in there on specific applications, specific integrations. People are leaving workflows that they've built for other MSPs to grab and use. So a great place to get involved. That's 2 of the things. I know I'm missing a couple more. Does anyone else on the call want to give me a hand with Aaron's intro? Some of the things I've missed. So there's usually 4 things. Skyline Chili, yeah. Ray, if you're seeing this later, you've got some coming your way. Ray got a very good, nice note from a partner of ours, Ray down in Australia, who's working with us, and we're going to mail him some Skyline Chili.
That's not a reward.
I don't know. It could like ferment and and there's a lot of salt in it, right? So it should keep while it travels down under.
I thought we wanted him to stay, George.
Yeah, maybe. Well, he's never had Skyline Chili, neither have I. So these are boxes we all must tick under Aaron's law.
George, have you are you running it today?
I am, Amanda. I'm here.
I think the link is missing in the coop.
Oh no, I think John has just dropped it in there.
Awesome, great.
Bingo. Thank you, though, Amanda.
I try to be helpful.
Yeah, you're doing okay. You're doing a good job.
Sometimes.
Just talk to me about what it's going to be like to try and keep Trisha from trying Malort the entirety of next week.
Oh. Yeah, Malort. Does anyone here unfamiliar with Malort? Are you bringing that to Right of Boom?
No, I'm not bringing it, but it's guaranteed that someone will have it.
Yeah. Well, if anyone has not done or heard of Malort in the chat, you can figure it out there. Very, very nice. Highly recommend everyone goes and gets a bottle this weekend. It's a Chicago thing, I think. But you should definitely try it.
Your whole face, George. It's not
really
cool.
Great. Very, very awesome. Definitely want it neat or on the rocks. Don't try and mix it with anything. Kind of ruin the experience for yourself. So,
Trish, I could help tackle and block for you because there's no Malort getting into me, so I'll help.
Trish, you got to go and explore new things. I think Malort is definitely on the life bingo card that you want to check out.
It's a life bingo card to go your whole life without trying it. It's like one of those things that your liver will thank you when you're 85.
You're right, Amanda. Absolutely right.
Think of the memories. Okay, well, we have got some folks still piling in, but let's go ahead and get things rolling as we are almost at 5 past. So we've done our intros. We've talked about Malort. I've got some other announcements that we'll keep towards the end of today's call. But first up, I'm going to kick it over to the man with the loveliest mum, Mr. Daniel, to give us an update on dev and product. Daniel, over to you, sir.
Thank you, George, for the kind words. Really appreciated. Okay. By the way, anybody who likes our LinkedIn posts talking about the Valentines and my mom and stuff like that, I take that as a personal attack on me and my family, and I will find you. Okay, so a few things today. We have a big release going out tomorrow. We've been doing a lot of maintenance behind the scenes this week, so we don't have a whole lot of new features to talk about. But we do have a few bug fixes that went out for our friends. A couple of them are for our friends overseas, not in continental United States, or I guess North America. We have fixed a couple of issues relating to templates not replicating over to our different regions, templates specifically for our crates. We've also made a fix to properly update the workflow bundles, again, for our other regions when we are replicating crates over to our different regions. We're doing a lot of work on that right now. Essentially, what we want to have is we want to be able to update crates in one central location, and those crates then replicate to our regions in Australia, EU, UK, and so on and so forth, as well as our internal usage regions. So yeah, it just makes it easier for us to maintain all of our crates. We've also added a performance improvement this week that happens when we bulk create organizations. So that was, we noticed that there was a long running kind of task that was happening, and we added a performance improvement for that. Like I mentioned, we have quite a big release with some exciting features coming out tomorrow. And because of that, we do have scheduled maintenance from 2 to 4. I don't think we expect any sort of, so we don't have any expectations of any outages or anything like that. It's just we want people to be aware that we are releasing some fun, exciting features tomorrow. Another thing that I would like to add is we have App Builder AMAs every 2 weeks on Wednesdays. I'll just drop this link in here. So App Builder, for those of you who haven't used it, it's a way of kind of surfacing a lot of the fun stuff you're doing in automations in a hosted web application. But we have a fun demo happening this week from one of our favorite Australians, Lachlan, from IT department, who is probably going to be waking up. I think it's something like 5 a.m. his time, or maybe even more in the middle of the night. And he's going to be doing a really exciting demo and showing off some of the stuff that he has been working on. He's been building this application from scratch, and it is very relevant to, I believe, most of our MSPs, and shows the potential of App Builder and shows the potential of potentially selling through automations to your clients. So if you have the time, we're going to be pushing that in Discord. We have a Discord App Builder channel, so please go there. Please go to the link and download the calendar invite as well. Any trouble, reach out to us. But yeah, that's, I believe, all I have for today. Come to the demo next Wednesday. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, let's be sure to get on that demo and support our Aussie friend Lachlan. Yeah, he's getting up in the middle of the night, and certainly I know a lot of people. We've seen it on Discord. We hear it in our individual chats. Very excited about App Builder and the capabilities that it's going to provide to MSPs in helping not only advance their own culture of automation, but beginning to get their own partners up to speed and introduced to some of those cool themes. Next up, Mr. JP, over to you for some news on the marketplace.
All right. Hey, everybody. Go ahead and share my screen. Perfect. All right. This week, we've released a new crate. It's a Windows 11 compatibility checker. Basically, leverages your RMM tool can do a couple things. It can generate a CSV of all your machines and a few of the benchmarks for Windows 11 compatibility. It also generates a web page that you can access, and also sends it in a email fashion as well. That can be either run from a form, or you can schedule a cron. Of course, you can do that per organization. So a neat crate we put together should be available in the marketplace for unpacking now. We have a number of bug fixes that we've implemented surrounding onboarding, offboarding, and a few of our other crates. So hopefully those are beneficial to our customers. And coming up, we have we're continuing work on function design toolkit crates. More to come on that. And then we still have some outstanding licensing enhancements that we're going to be doing. So that's what's on the docket for the next week. Also, we have a demo today. I almost forgot, and I'm sure somebody would be very disappointed if I had. Paul D'Amico is going to be doing a demo of our new Microsoft user onboarding crate. So I'll send it over to him.
Paul, we'll let you get teed up. Just Paul, while you're getting set up and sharing your screen, Jim, I see your hand up there. Did you have a question on some of the new crate stuff?
Yeah, JP, do you know if that OneDrive invite action is the long-awaited missing piece during offboarding that says hand this former user's OneDrive off to this other user or users during the offboard? Is that what that is?
So I can answer that.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a Dan special right there.
It will grant the user permissions that you select in the form. So there's a field, you select the users that you want to grant access to the terminated user's OneDrive. You can choose owner, read, and write, and it's a multi-select field. And basically it will go through and send an invite, quote unquote. The actual action itself is just granting the permissions, and then there's an action following that sends an email, basically just saying, hey, you've been granted access to this user's OneDrive, and then it gives a link to their OneDrive, and then they can click the link and it will open up.
Excellent. Thank you. Long awaited.
Thank you, Jim Barry, for the question. All right, kicking things over to Paul for this new Create demo on Microsoft user onboarding. Paul, are you with us?
I am. How's it going, everyone?
All yours, buddy.
All right. Let's see here. First, I'll just go through just adding a user here through the form, the new form. The new form is more condensed to try to make it a lot easier to use for everyone. So I'll run through it real quick. I'll go ahead and set that. This is going to, just like the old form, allow you to set a username to however you want here. You should be able to default this as well if you wanted to automatically choose a specific format. This is going to check if that user exists. If it doesn't, it's not going to let you create the user. We'll go ahead and add some of these groups. Let this run here. Once that says it doesn't exist, this will come up and allow you to choose the license. You have the option of choosing a license that's available, or if there's none free, you have the option of getting one created for you, which will get automatically purchased through your provider, and it'll add that license to the user. There's a bunch of org variables and settings for that specific feature. I can run through them after, but we'll choose one for now. We also have the copy user attributes. So if you wanted to copy a user here, we'll do, I don't have one set up actually, but let's just choose this. It's going to pull the groups from that user and I'll add them to this automatically. I'm not actually going to do the user to copy right now just because I don't know if it's in the right OU. So, and if that has the right groups. So we'll leave that alone for now. Go down here, we can choose the OU. When you do this, if you choose a OU that's not synced, it's not going to, it's going to run, but it's going to get hung up and basically keep looking for that user that's user on Azure because it's not being synced. So it'll keep repeatedly looping. It'll look like it. You might think the workflow is not running correctly, but it is looping because it can't find the user and it keeps checking just to see if the user synced up. So if you were to move that user after the fact into a synced OU, it's going to find it and continue the workflow. And eventually it's going to fail the workflow out if it's not moved over. So we'll keep that in synced here. Now we have a bunch of advanced options here. Instead of using like org variables, we put in these checkboxes to make it a lot easier. Menu approver, you can manually put this in here. There's also an org variable you can set, or if you don't set one, it's going to, and you're running the if I'm running, actually, if you don't set one, it should automatically run if you're the actual approver for that. I'll show you once it runs, actually, how that works. We'll go through attributes here. If you want to set a home directory, choose this here. It's going to come up eventually. This is the main part of it. You can manually type this in here, or you can choose one. You don't need to select anything from here, but you can if you want to know what servers are. You're able to select here. And you can choose the letter. This will create the drive and set it up in the Active Directory, and it'll create the drive before the user logs in as well for that. And then you can set all this stuff. I'll just leave a couple blank. Supervisor. This is going to grab it from AD. This might fail for me because I don't have it in Azure. Continue. And there's a bunch of other settings you can go through here.
Try there. Hey, Josh, can you hear me? Hey, sorry about that. This is John with Hunts.
And this is the delay action. If you wanted to delay it to create the user at a specific time, you can choose this. And there's some more settings down here, but we'll just submit this here.
All right, how
let it
about
run
now?
through. It's probably going to take a little bit to
computer-
run, so we'll just get this going for now.
Oh yeah, Paul did get muted.
Oh yeah,
Paul,
sorry.
Well, no, I think everyone got muted, and then you got
Oh
muted.
yeah, I got muted for sure. Where was I? What was the last thing I said?
Just start from the beginning.
Were you serious? Was it? Okay, no, you're not.
Oh, no.
No,
We're not serious. No, you're good.
Oh my god.
Just pick up from where you are. We'll be okay.
So this is the old new employee. It's kind of difficult to follow what's going on if you look at it because there's a lot of things going on. It's scattered all over the place. There's a lot of stuff running in parallel, which can we try to stray away from running in parallel now just because it can cause issues. The new one is just more straightforward. Everything's built in sub workflows, very easy to follow. If you were to, you can use these sub workflows if you want to make your own workflows and just kind of grab these, and it has a bunch of stuff pre-built inside of them, like this, for instance, create user. This is the actual process of creating the user. So it's going to create the on-prem user. It's going to check if the user was created or if there's an issue, it'll fill out instead of going to the next step, which will take a little longer to fill out. This will add the groups next. Then I'll go ahead and run AD sync. It'll do both syncs, cloud or regular AD sync. I'll delay for a little bit. This is where the looping thing happens, what I was talking about earlier. If it's in a non-synced OU, it could get stuck at this point. So that's why you need to make sure you select the correct OU sometimes if you don't have any unsynced OUs. That's going to go through. I'll set the supervisor after that. I'll set for on-prem, I'll set that in the PowerShell within the on-prem one, which we can go in that as actually yeah. So this is how the on-prem stuff works. So you have the copy user and then you have the regular create user. And that does that thing. But I just want to show this because you can take bits and pieces of this workflow and just kind of mess around with it and build your own stuff if you wanted to. It'd make it a lot easier. instead of recreating everything. But let's check the results out here. So it's at the delay 80 sync part. It takes about 2 minutes to delay. I don't know if we want to wait for this to happen, but it's going to go through. It's going to look for, after it creates a user in Azure, it's going to look and make sure it's there. It's going to continue to workflow and basically go down the line of this until it gets to the very last part, and it'll update the ticket when it's completed. But
Hey, Paul.
Yep.
Whilst that delay is running, one problem that a lot of people used to have with onboarding was that we had a normal form and a minimalistic form, and there were a lot of discrepancies between the two. One major one with copying user. Does that problem still exist?
No, because now when you click copy user, I'll show you real quick. Now it's going to be handled in the form itself instead of outside the form. So when you click this and choose a user, it's going to grab, you'll see all the groups in here and you'll be able to set them. And then if we go into copy user in here, it's going to copy if it's on-prem, it's going to copy the on-prem attributes and set them to the user within PowerShell. And then if it's Azure, it's going to copy the Azure attributes and continue the workflow. Was that the question you were having?
Yeah, that's awesome. Nice to see we overcame that problem. Thank you.
Yep. And that is pretty much it. Go ahead.
Jerry has his hand up.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I had another question. The old forms used to sort of get like a soft fail because of dynamic groups. Do you know if that's solved when you query the user that you're copying? If the user is a member of dynamic groups, you can't really copy dynamic group membership.
Yep.
It sort of defeats the purpose. So I wonder if you are detecting that and not soft failing, just like moving around it, because at least in one occasion, I don't really want, I can't remember when, but on at least one occasion that sent me down a tailspin for a little while.
I'm pretty sure it checks for that. I can double check after for you, but I'm pretty sure it handles that within the form. I'll double check for you though, just to make sure. And I'll send you a message after.
You got it. Thanks.
No problem.
Thanks for sharing,
All
Paul.
right.
So this is a brand new crate that's available on the marketplace today for partners to go and unpack.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Perfect.
It is.
And yeah, it looks like there's a lot of great sub workflows in there for anyone who even wants to go in and kind of rip bits and pieces out that they might find useful. So lots of good stuff in there.
I think Brian had a question too, I think, about the auto map at the beginning.
Sorry,
I'm
missed
guessing.
there, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if we can add the disable auto map for the shared mailboxes. We have a few clients where they don't want those mapped, and it's hard to teach that for like a level 1 to do it through PowerShell and stuff.
Yeah, I can definitely look into that after this as well. I'll open a ticket for that and see if we can get that implemented for you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Great, thanks, Paul. Okay, before we kick it over to Brandon for a quick education update, I just want to give folks a head up. We've got Gareth, I believe, from your IT department, who's got a workflow to demo. Following that, Charles at Renaissance as well. And then is Stuart here on the call? I didn't see him in the participants, but just in case he's here under another name from Ideological, wasn't sure if he was going to make it in time, but maybe just say hi in the chat, Gareth, Charles, and Stuart, so I can see you're here and ready to present. But in the meantime, Brandon, I'll kick it over to you for our education update and gamer tip of the week.
Thank you, good sir. Let me go ahead and share my screen. First of all, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. We're glad you're here because we love you. All right. Can we see my screen? All right, I'm going off script for the game tip of the week this week because I had a chat with Devin. You guys might be more familiar with him. It is a Discord name. I think it's Pigeon Noises or Pigeon something. If you're here, Devin, you can say something in the chat. He turned me on to an indie game called Keep Driving. It's probably one of the most unique indie games I think I've seen in a long time. It's like a driving RPG where you're doing inventory management with what's in your car, picking up passengers, doing all this kind of cool stuff. So there he is. There's Devin. So check it out. That one looks pretty good. And we were chatting a lot about some other indie games and some indie games that remind us of Super Nintendo games. So shout outs to anybody who remembers Uniracers, if anybody else is out there besides the two of us. All right. Speaking of shout outs, we have shout outs to Mart, John, Joshua, Michael, and Dom for passing the Foundations certification. You guys will get your prestigious Certified Rooster badge in Discord, along with access to our not-so-super-secret Discord channel, where you can talk with our other Certified Roosters. And shout-outs to Bart, Charlie, Steven, Kian, and Sebastian for passing the Clean Automation certification. Shout-outs to you guys. Again, I'll just repeat this again for anybody who might be new. If you're going to get the foundation certification, definitely go check out that Clean Automation certification. We've heard nothing but good things from people who are certified on that in terms of how it helped them understand and build more efficient workflows. So go check out our Clean Automation course and certification. Don't forget that we have our Roost Foundations Bootcamp. Next one up is March 3rd and March 4th, and we're going to have some changes to our scheduling coming up as well. So we'll give you guys more information on that coming soon, so stick around, keep an ear out. Otherwise, always feel free to join us in the CluckU channel in Discord and sign up for office hours if you want to get some of that special legendary time with our legendary Eddie Chow. Otherwise, we have quite a bit of updates here on the pages today. Brian knows because he built a workflow that apparently automates the updates, and he can see everything that's coming in. So he was just talking about that earlier in the chat. For Cluck University, we've changed the name of our electives to micro courses. We got some feedback from some of you guys that electives weren't necessarily it's not that it was a bad name, it just gave you the impression that it was kind of optional, and we find these to be quite helpful, actually. So we wanted to change that to micro courses in preparation to some of the changes we're making. And we have a new automation jumpstart page that we've added as well. And we'll continue building that out as we continue. I'm going to skip over here for the... Oh,
Brandon?
Yes.
I just want to double tap on the automation jumpstart, especially for anyone who is new to the group. This is a fantastic way for anyone who has completed CluckU but is still not sure about how to apply their knowledge to get in and build some fully guided functional automations from start to scratch. They're designed to be done in 30 minutes or less. It is fantastic hands-on experience for anyone who's wanting to build. So just super useful resource there for anyone who is new to Roost or is onboarding someone who is new to Roost. So wanted to call those out.
Yep. Thanks, Jamie. All right, Jack, you called me out. So this is what the pages look like. I'll show you guys. We have 4 of them right now. We still want to continue building these out. And if anybody from the community has, I mentioned this last week, if anybody has any short workflows that are 30 minutes or less to set up that are valuable to you guys. We've heard story after story of these smaller compact workflows that you didn't even realize had as much value until you actually started running them. Feel free to shoot them over and we can vet those and add those to the list as well. That would be really exciting coming from the community. One that I'll highlight right now, we actually got this from Trish, so shout outs to Trish. She has a workflow that she set up here that basically gives you a feedback request form and automation that will allow you to work with your team to build this culture of automation, right? So if you want to get others in your team to be thinking about tasks that they're doing that you might be able to automate, you can basically build this and use this to give them a form to fill out for ideas, and then you can go take those ideas and vet those and start building workflows that way. So that's one of the examples, and we have a few others here as well. Definitely check it out. I think Clea posted a link in the chat. Cool. Other than that, we have a number of updates here. I'll go through these pretty quickly so we can get to our demos. We've updated the Agent Smith page. So the topic now has its own sections on the doc site, and there's some new screenshots and updated instructions. We've updated the PSA integrations landing page. This is a really cool update where we now have a link to a bunch of the crates that you can unpack after getting your PSA integration set up. So that's very exciting. We'll have more to come there as well. We've updated the instructions on how to add and remove users. We have some just-in-time admin access crate documentation added as well. Shout outs to Ray. We have a lot more of that coming as well, so we'll keep you guys updated on those. And then we have a bunch of new documentation and updated as well for export Intune policies and configurations. That's another crate doc. Cove and WebRoot integration documentation. We've updated the crate documentation template to include more styling examples so we can keep those consistent for you guys. If anybody has any feedback on that as we get those out, feel free to let us know. And we've also updated the completion handler documentation to be consistent with the language in the platform. And we've updated one of our Jumpstart pages to clarify that last step after getting some feedback. So we'd also love to hear your feedback on that as well. The team has done great work this week. We're excited to have some more stuff coming, and we would love to hear from any of you who have any ideas, any feedback, or any Jumpstart guides. And that's going to be it for me. Happy Valentine's Day. Love you. Back to you, George.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, as was mentioned by Jamie and Brandon, lots of great new courses that have been released and still more to come, particularly focused on some of the more people who are going to be new to Roost, or maybe you have some junior developers that are interested in getting their feet wet. Make sure you're familiarizing yourself with those new courses and passing them along to those staff members. Feel free to also share them in Discord if you see people asking questions that they might be able to solve if they do that training. As Brian said in the comments, roosting without training is like living without breathing. So yeah, I think we can maybe get that tattooed this year at the Flow conference. All right, moving on. We have some great demos coming up from our community members. Gareth from not my IT department, not our IT department, but your IT department. Are you here and with us and ready?
Hi, John. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, just about. You're a little faint. Do you want to just try saying hello again, Mr. Fellow Smith?
Hello, can you hear me now?
It just sounds like you're underwater or in a tunnel. Is that just me, or are other people getting the same thing? Jamie, I see you nodding your head. Just another little mic check.
Yeah, it's like the
much
wrong
better.
mic. It's
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think it's me. ANC's broke on me headset because I've got kids in background. You see, so I'm trying to mute them as much as possible.
There we go. Thanks, Gareth. We can hear you much clearer now. Gareth, maybe just start to get the ball rolling. If you can just kind of tell us like who you are, where you're from, how long you've been using Roost, and then maybe talk a little bit about the process you're taking us through today.
Yeah, so some of you guys know me because I've done a few of these. It's been a while since I've done one. So yeah, essentially I'm kind of the sole Roost guy at your IT department. Been on Roost since July, I think. This was like the first time kind of build anything like this, and yeah, essentially I built quite a lot of different stuff. The stuff I'm going to kind of show you today, there's two things, but they are quite quick, and they are kind of different to what I normally show. But essentially, one of them is in regards to ConnectWise. So let me quickly share my screen while I explain kind of what's going on. I do apologize. I'm using a horrible trackpad, so let's see how this goes. So essentially, with ConnectWise and kind of requesting for approval and stuff like that through the ticket. A lot of clients say they kind of don't like it that much because when you send an email through ConnectWise saying, hi, can you approve blah, 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 obviously it sends pretty much the whole ticket to that approver. So, some of you are aware of the approval process, my custom one that I built into like the new users and stuff like that. Well, essentially, I've kind of brought that into a form that kind of links into the ticket, and then from there you can request kind of whatever you want. So I'll quickly show you. This is where I pray that it doesn't break. So if we hit approval required on here. Oh, hang on, let me refresh it first. That's great. It's already been updated apparently. Right, so we'll go to approval required. So this is actually like a quite nice simple one. and it's something I am be putting onto the client portal as well, so they can essentially use it themselves. So if we go into here, come on, please work. Don't be mean to me. Oh, there we go. I do apologize, running a little bit slow. So it is pretty quick. I'll show you the actual workflow as well after. But essentially, it's kind of like the one that you guys give with the links for the onboarding and offboarding. It's a bit like that, just a little different. And essentially, what it'll do inside the ticket, if we give it a refresh, it will add a submit form. So you kind of click the form, it'll take to whatever. Let's give it a second to everything to load up, and then I did some training on here earlier, so bear with me. Then you can type in whoever you want here, so whoever's requested it. So I'll just put Gaz. That's it. So you're not having to CC any of the approvers or anything, because obviously that's kind of already in Roost. This is just like a basic template, but we'll just use that to submit. Once that essentially submits, it will go. Let me make sure. Hey, looks like the automation gods are with me today. So essentially, it will go through, obviously, to kind of do the normal standard things. It'll update the ticket to say kind of who's run it. So in this case, me, and who to send approval for. But it seems to be taking a second, so just bear with it. Scrolling without an actual mouse is horrendous. Just give it a second. Anyway, while that's doing that, I can just quickly show you the workflow instead. So all this is basically it's a trigger that's also running slow. The trigger essentially, all it does is basically waits for a ticket record to be saved with essentially, obviously in this case, I put the ticket number because I only want it to work on this one test, and the status turns to approval required. And essentially it hasn't already been updated by Roost, so we actually have a user inside ConnectWise called Roost. So as long as there's nothing being updated by it, it'll essentially kind of run this. And all it's essentially doing is kind of getting your general information. So obviously it begins, it'll get the ticket ID, company ID, obviously make sure it gets the Roost organization, and then it will go off and get the trigger. And essentially from that trigger result, hang on, let me minimize you guys because you're covering that corner. There we go. All it's essentially doing is kind of putting it all together here. So essentially it's just going to create a nice form with that URL, and then update the ticket with that form. And then once that kind of gets done, it will then go to do this, which is nice. This is a nice simple thing. So essentially it'll begin, it'll update the ticket to say, it's basically starting the process of it. Send the approval email, which I'll quickly show the approval part in a second. And then at the very end, it'll update the ticket to basically say, this is now done. So essentially it's already got the approval. So you guys are probably used to, seeing this. So I won't go too much in depth into this because I've now done open mic on it. So this is my custom approval. It's kind of used across the things. So I didn't bother making a second one for this or anything. It's just a sub workflow. So essentially we can ignore this part because obviously we're not going to seek approval if it's already an approver. And then what it'll essentially do is literally just go in. It will automatically, because obviously I put org variables in that essentially or already have the, I hate zooming in with this thing, so I do apologize. So essentially I already have the org variable stored. So all this is doing is essentially, sending the email to the exact approver. So, again, you're not having to CC them into the ticket. Now that ticket should kind of be done. Let me just make sure. Let's see if it's sent. There you go. So like it says here, it's been sent here. Got too many tabs open. Where's the execution? There it is. Let me minimize that. So as you can see here, essentially it'll go send the approval. And then now it should be waiting, which I'll show you in a second what it looks like. Then it'll wait the response. And you should, let me give it a refresh. This way the email's not come through yet. There we go. So instead of kind of having a really lengthy long ticket for approvers, and approvers can be quite busy sometimes and stuff like that, so they don't want to sit there and go through loads of emails to find out what they're actually approving. Even when you copy and paste it on ConnectWise, it still doesn't look great. Here it just gives them extremely basic stuff. So tell them the ticket ID, who's requested it, and a general whatever it is they've requested. You can just copy and paste that into here. Approve or deny, hit approve. get a nice little thank you, and then basically from there, yeah, scrolling down is so horrible. It does a little delay because essentially I did do it without a delay, but it's got the webhook's got kind of two things it's trying to wait for. One is who is the approver that's actually pressed the button, and the other is what button's been pressed. So I put a little delay to make sure they all catch up with each other, and then kind of once it's done that, it will go and update the ticket to basically say who's approved it. And yeah, essentially it'll kind of go from there, and then you'll get a final ticket update at the very end, which will say, all right, maybe it won't say because I can't show you because it won't let me scroll down that far. There we go. It'll go to update the ticket one last time. It'll update the status and everything, and it should look a bit like this when it comes through. Go to all, because obviously you will kind of want certain things client facing. So essentially, as you can see here, it says who the approval's gone to, who's actually approved it, and then on top of that, obviously you've got the result links here, but approval process complete. And if you can see here, automation approval complete. So now we know whatever that request was, we can just get cracked on with it. Again, it's really simple, really small workflows, but it's to us it's quite effective. And I've only been running this last couple of days. We've had some good feedback from it, so it's been quite positive. But just kind of shows that not everything needs to be complex built. You can build simple things like this. And so, is there any questions on that before I quickly show you one more thing?
Any questions from the congregation? Going once, going twice, 3 times a lady. No, Gareth, off you go. Next one, please.
Okay, that's perfect. So this one is actually extremely quick. So I seen a canny request that's had quite a few upvotes about getting forms kind of working on mobiles. So this kind of goes by what Dan was saying about using the app builder to kind of do what you want. So let me quickly kind of show you. And this is actually a good example. So I can't exactly share my phone, but I can adjust the size to this to make it fit like a phone. So as you can see, there's this sort of portal, and essentially I've got the iframe, and I've got essentially it's kind of got a grid behind it to lock all this in. So if we go here and minimize it, as you can see, everything changes with it. Everything from the menu to essentially the form as well. So you can still clearly see what's on the form. Doesn't matter how big your phone is, or whether you're on a tablet or anything. Kind of if you're on a tablet, it's going to go wider. If you want it thinner, or you've got like if I can grab that bit, a longer phone, shorter phone. It does accommodate everything for it. So yeah, it's. I'll quickly show you how that was done. I said a very, very quick one. All I've essentially done is put a container in, and essentially when the mobile menu is active, so when it knows the screen's gone down under a certain pixel, essentially, it will then kind of go and correct everything else with it, including the iframe container, and it will contain a certain height at all times. So yeah, essentially the screen will literally just adjust to whatever you're using, which is really, really handy. And yeah, just a nice little trick, and again something you could just do inside the app builder. But yeah, that's it.
Awesome, thanks, Gareth. There's definitely some positivity coming through in the comments. I think I'll ask what other people want to know. Is this something you're willing to share in the workflow Discord, where people can come in and get some of this stuff themselves and leverage the workflows that you've built?
So the approval stuff, I don't mind doing that, but I will take my custom approval stuff out, because essentially that took me a very, very long time, and that one's kind of like my little pride. But you could always use the Roosts built-in one. But yeah, the other ones, like I said, it didn't take me long. So even like Brandon's has said, if you want little things to kind of build yourself, I don't mind putting something together for it, because it does not take long at all to build.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate anything you can share, and certainly for the open mic stuff, simple is better. For us, we enjoy the things that need to be hugely complex and overcomplicated, with a lot of people here to learn and get ideas. Yeah, it's good to see some simple workflows. So thanks for sharing. Just before we wrap up with Gareth, anyone have any questions on either of those two things before we kick it over to Charles for his demo? Nope. Going once, twice. Cool. All right, Charles from Renaissance. Are you here, sir? Can you hear me? Are you with us?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Charles, welcome. Thanks again for taking the time to come and demo to everyone. I'll kind of get things going by asking you the same questions that Gareth got. Kind of, who are you? Where are you from? How long have you been using Roost? And what is the kind of manual process that you're going to walk through automating us with Roost today?
Sure. I'm Charlie. I've been with Renaissance IT for a little over 4 years now. I'm from the Bay Area in California, about 30 minutes from San Francisco. And what I'm going to show to you today is actually sort of a demo I gave to a coworker. My coworker, Sean, is sort of like our automated services person. He manages like our AV. He does a lot of like the conditional access stuff in 365, and he's been sort of hesitant to jump into Roost so far, but he was having an issue with generating reports within Halo. He was trying to modify some fields, and it was breaking the report actually. And I explained my disdain for sort of some of the stuff that Halo does, even though I love the platform. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity to sort of show him, how we could accomplish something very similar within Roost. So what he was actually working on was a monthly device report for each of our clients. So we collect all of the devices that are actually being billed for, because some of them, might not be for some reason or another. And then from there, we would actually attach it to a ticket that gets assigned to the main site contact, essentially for their approval. We don't go through a whole approval process, but we send it to them and we say, hey, if you see anything that's fishy, let us know. So it's a really simple one. But basically, for now, we have an always pass trigger. It's only scoped to our organization for now. But what we'll do is, we'll get the organization assets for the organization that it's being run for. We scope it to that client ID. From there, we'll actually get the details of each device or asset. Unfortunately, Halo, in their main API call to just get assets, it doesn't include all the information that we may need. So we do it with items, and we pass it each of the assets its ID, right? And then we say include details from here. From there, we actually render a template. We just do that with a no-op. And you can see here, it's very simple. We set that as like a template HTML data alias, so we get it in scope. From there, we actually call an API that I wrote to generate a report. So we send that template HTML, we base for 64 encode it, and then we send it off to the API. And we do a few things here. We tell it to return base 64 instead of an actual PDF object. We say to put it on a single page because I like it that way. And then from there, just as testing, as I was showing him, we do send email, impersonate as a user, and we impersonate our technical team. We set a subject according to the organization's name, the data was generated. We attach the file as an encoded file, as a PDF. Oops. And then we're just sending it to me for now, right? And we set the importance to high. So if we go ahead and run this, we'll see runs pretty quickly. We'll get a list of assets. We'll get the details of each asset. We'll render the template. Let's actually do this. Actually, I guess I'll show you the template. So the template's pretty basic. It's just a bootstrap template that has a single table. Right now, it just has these columns, and then we'll iterate over that org assets detailed list that we get. And then, we fill in the information for each column. We're doing a little bit of redaction there. And yeah, once that's done, we'll actually, let's make sure this works. We'll get a PDF in our email and it'll look exactly like this. So he's actually going now and he's messing with tweaking, what fields he's going to grab and what columns he's going to include and how to, change essentially like, what the formatting of a date is, et cetera, et cetera. Just sort of as a jumping off point for him. And, I pointed him to ClockU, so he's starting to go through all of that as well. But I thought that was just like a very simple example of something that you can accomplish. This took, roughly 20 minutes to get done. And yeah.
Very cool. Thanks so much for sharing, Charlie. And yeah, I know this isn't your first rodeo showing some things on the open mic. So yeah, appreciate your contributions and for highlighting these tricks and tips. Anyone on the call have any questions around anything that Charlie shared?
I did. I had one. Charlie, which API for PDF did you build this on? Because I just yesterday or the day before, I just started down that thought process for a customer thing that we're gonna propose.
So it's actually an API I built myself. And it's on my GitHub. I can post it in the coop if you'd like. But basically, it's something you can throw into Docker. And it will essentially perpetually run a headless Chrome in the background. And then when a request comes in, it'll load the page and it'll spit it out however you want it. And yeah, there's some documentation on here. But,
oh, great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Charlie. The room recognizes Daniel Bullock with your hand up. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that. There's an Azure function app that somebody in the community made. You can search it in the actual Roost somewhere. I can get the link and put it in the chat. But that does the same job, but it's an Azure function app, so you don't have to run it anywhere. You don't have to keep it somewhere. But it does that. It's really simple. And you just basically grab the GitHub code, push it up to an Azure function app, and Bob's your uncle. You can now push HTML in and make it pop out a PDF.
That was Brandon, actually. Thank Giga.
Giga.
Him and I actually discussed it because he sent it to me, but there were definitely some options that I wanted to implement that weren't there in the Azure function app, such as setting margins, setting formatting, headers and footers that we eventually want to add, stuff like that. So.
I mean, it's obviously you can add more functionality, but as a base level, we are using that one, Gigas. It works great and it's simple and just disappears as far as I'm concerned because Azure Function Apps work that way. So I just wanted to note that that's in there. That's what when we went down that route, that's the direction we went. It's just using Gigas. I will say if you do try to implement that, make sure you make the Azure Function App a Linux Azure Function App. I don't think the documentation particularly says it, but yeah, Windows Azure Function Apps can't run the browser properly. So
good to know. Thank you, Daniel. And thank you again, Charlie. We were meant to have a third demo from Stuart at Ideological, but I'm not sure if he's been able to make it. I knew he had some other stuff going on. So Stuart, I don't believe you're on the call, but if you are and you do have a demo, make yourself known. If not, we are going to proceed with some kind of last announcements for the call. The first one being, if any folks are going to Rite of Boom next week in Las Vegas, a great event that is happening over there. Roost has a pre-day you'll want to check out, and also Ashley will be doing the community call live from Rite of Boom next Friday. So again, if you are there, DM her or stop by either the Roost booth or find Ashley to get more details on how you can sit in on that live. Amanda, go ahead.
Also, come by the MSP Geek booth. We're working with several vendors, Roost included, to have a sort of passport CTF style challenge that will involve puzzles and kind of problem solving. So just come by and get information.
And my lord, I think you mentioned, yeah, you're gonna have some of that as well. Yeah, very good. Speaking of events, one of the things we haven't mentioned at the start, although I will give kudos to Emmett for dropping the link in and beating Brian Simpson, who's usually quick fire on this, Flow, Roost event that's happening in June later this year. If you are new to the Roost community or have been dabbling with us for a while and did not go to the inaugural event last year, or maybe you did and want to come back, it is definitely something you should look into and sign up for. We have some great content lined up, including sort of live workshops, some great thought leadership happening, and at the moment it is still early bird pricing tickets, so if you are interested, no better time than to bag yourself a discount. The other thing I'll note as well, on the cash out process, if you're sending multiple people, it's best to do it all at once, because I believe you get a $50 discount on every additional ticket that you purchase, so better to buy in batches. But yeah, I will drop that link into the bottom. Oh, there we go. People already dropped it in. Good. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Ben. Get over there and take a peek. So with that last 5 minutes, just wanted to kind of open up the floor if anyone had any general questions they wanted to ask Roost or the community. Anyone had any thoughts on this Valentine's Day? Any burning issues or queries? No, I think we were good. Okay. Well, with that, folks, thank you very much. Thank you for being polite and gentle with me on my first time seeing this open mic in sick Ashley's absence. As I said, she'll be back next week. Sam, no? Sam, something? No? Accidental hand up? All good. Okay, well, that's it from us this week, guys. Thank you so much. Please enjoy your long weekend if you're in North America. If you're watching this over in the UK, you guys get plenty of bank holidays anyway, so that's fine. Stay warm, stay safe. We'll see you on Discord, and we'll see you next week. Take it easy, everyone. Happy automating. Cheerio.
Meow. Meow.
Meow.
Meow.
Oh.